All right, welcome. Today is Wednesday. It is 12 o'clock noon Eastern Time at the point that I am recording this. My name is Rhonda M. Jordan. And if this is your first time joining me, welcome. If this is another time where you're coming back from a previous video or a previous live, I definitely want to say welcome to you as well. What I'm going to ask is that if in fact you are already on, if you can just do a quick sound check for me, it looks like everything is good, but just drop a comment in and feel free to let me know if the sound is good. You can also feel free to let me know if, in fact, you are where you are watching from. So I also like to always say hello to everyone who is watching the replay. And perhaps in a future date, at a future time, you'll be able to catch me live as well. So I'm just going to wait to see if we do, in fact, have good sound quality and that we are all ready to go. So, again, if you're able to drop in a comment, just letting me know. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and get started with today's topic. And I want to explain to you why I selected this topic. For those of you just coming in right now, my name is Rhonda M. Jordan. And today, what we're going to be talking about, and you'll see me look down every now and then because I'm checking my notes, is how to create a lead magnet your audience actually wants. Now, I did a topic on creating a lead magnet maybe I don't know, about a month or so ago, but this is a different version of that. And there's a very specific reason why I've selected this. So, what we're going to be doing, and I encourage you to make sure that you're taking notes as you are listening to this training because it's going to be very helpful. You may also want to come back and watch it a second time just to make sure that you're getting everything out of it that you possibly can. So, let's go ahead and get into this training. So, what we're going to be talking about today is a very specific type of lead magnet that I want to share with you that is extremely effective. We're also going to be talking about when you should be creating your lead magnet. And I guess what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get into that right away because, quite honestly, you should be creating your lead magnet probably earlier than you think you should. I like to say to people, as soon as you decide to step out and create content, you should go ahead and create a lead magnet. Now, in the past few weeks, I have covered a variety of topics related to creating content. Last week, when we were on, I actually talked about creating 30 days of content and giving you a lot of different versions of content that you can create. Well, as you start creating content, you're going to start building an audience, and that audience is primarily, it is going to be built on the social media platform that you choose, or if in fact you decide that you're going to be creating content on YouTube, that's where that audience is going to reside. Now, the reason why you want to create a lead magnet and do it as fast as possible, meaning early in the process, is because your goal is to take that audience that you are creating as a result of the content that you're putting out there and move it off of that platform, which you do not own, onto a platform that you do own, which is your email list. See, your email list becomes an asset in your business. But in order to move people off of your platform, your chosen platform, you're going to need to offer them something. Now, there's a variety of different types of content that you can create and offer to them in the form of a lead magnet. And if, in fact, you want to do something that's more along the lines of a written type of lead magnet, then I'm going to refer you back to the other video. But this one is a specific type of content, and it is extremely effective in terms of getting people onto your email list. And what we're going to be talking about today is creating a video format for your lead magnet. Now, I know I probably just scared, some of you who are watching this by talking about creating video. But I'm going to share with you why I'm selecting this and why I'm telling you that it is extremely effective. One of the reasons why is you have a lot of people that are extremely visual. So when they're trying to learn something, it's easier for you to be able to explain it to them, and they are able to then make that connection with you because they're watching you. And depending on the type of topic or your niche that you're offering, it might be better to do that. For example, let's say that your niche is something like crocheting or knitting. Well, a video is definitely going to be good for that because you can actually demonstrate, different stitches that might be done and perhaps teach them how to make something in a very short period of time. So that's why video can be very effective. Now, another reason why is sometimes when you are creating a video for your lead magnet, you can actually make it a little bit more comprehensive and easier for people to understand because you can also pop things up on the screen. And you're going to see me do that as we go through this training. So, again, if in fact anyone is able to just let me know that the sound is good, I believe it is, but I just always like to double check that before we get into the training. Now, another thing that happens when you choose to do video is it's also going to boost your credibility. And one of the reasons for that is because oftentimes people know how to do something, but because of their own fears, they won't get on a camera and share what they know how to do. They can put it in a book, they'll do, maybe even do an audio format, but a lot of people are just going to shy away. When you get on, and you're on camera and you're sharing things and you're answering questions for people and you're solving problems that they have. All right, perfect. Thank you, people, places, and pause. I love that. Thank you for letting me know the sound is good. But when you're getting on and you're answering questions and you're interacting with people, now remember, if you're doing a video format, your interaction is only going to be primarily in comments. Your people are not going to be able to interact with you like what we're doing here. This is a live video. What I'm talking about is something that you record video format wise, and then it is either placed in a video that is on YouTube, and I'm talking an unlisted video on YouTube, or perhaps you even put it into a course platform, which we'll talk about. All right, now another thing is when you choose to do something like video, it is just deemed to be a higher quality item, if you will, as opposed to just a PDF that someone gets. Now, I don't want to at all discount PDFs because PDFs are excellent, especially if you're talking about like an ebook or something along those lines. But I'm telling you, because of the way we have evolved over the years as a result of social media, people have just become more accustomed to watching things. Here's my point and how I can prove it. At one point, if you think about Instagram, Instagram used to primarily be pictures and posts. Now, the big thing and what engages people are the reels, which is all video. Same thing applies even on Facebook. Facebook used to be primarily posts. Now, I know Instagram and Facebook are all the same, but just understand that it's that video that captures people. Another way to prove my point, if you've ever read an article on any news outlet, they're likely to have the written copy, but in addition to that, there's usually a video embedded into it. So just know that video is an excellent way of connecting with people. And as I said, it's just deemed to be a higher quality lead magnet. Now, another thing is, honestly, it can be way easier to just turn your camera from your phone on and start recording, or if you have a camera that you can use, it can sometimes be easier to just turn it on and start talking about the topic that you're very well versed in versus taking the time to actually sit down and write it. A lot of people are just not good writers or they just aren't interested in writing. But if they're able to turn a camera on and just explain the topic, then, that's much easier for them. Hey, how are you? So I just want you to know that's another way to do it. And again, it's going to build the know, like, and trust factor much faster. The reason for it is, again, people, when they can look into your eyes, even if they're not able to have that back and forth conversation with you, they just connect with you faster. And if you've been on any of my other trainings, you know that in order for people to ultimately buy from you down the road, they need to have the know, like, and trust factors in place. In other words, they've gotten to know you, they've decided if they trust you, and if they like you. And if those factors are in place, people are likely to buy from you. Maybe not immediately, but in time they will do it. All right, so now let's talk about how you want to go about doing this video lead magnet. Now, and I'll share with you why I wanted to cover this particular topic. I've looked at my lead magnets and they do well. But one of the things I know is if I can switch them over to video, change out the content will remain the same for the most part because most of the content that I've created in written ebooks, it's still valid, it's evergreen type content. But I know if I go ahead and record that content and then pair it with something I'm going to share with you a little later on that you can easily create, I know it'll be that much more effective. Okay. And the other thing is, it's a way of setting you apart from others. So, for example, some people, as I said, just don't want to read. So, if they have two options of getting the same type of information from two different people, and yours is video and someone else's is written, they're likely to select yours. I mean, if all things are equal, they're likely to select yours because, again, people would rather watch something as opposed to reading things. So just kind of keep that in mind and why I'm actually switching things over to that. The other thing is for purposes of reviewing and making sure that they're really getting the concept, whatever your lead magnet is about, to be able to watch it, replay to or rewind to a section that maybe they didn't understand or really need to hear again. It's easy to do that if we're talking about video. All right, now the other thing is when you are decide to get on, I don't want you to get worked up over this. I don't want you to feel like using or recording a lead magnet is going to be different or difficult, is what I should say. It'll be different, but not difficult if you just allow yourself to become accustomed to it. Now, the first thing that I want to tell you is when you decide to record something, initially it's going to be very uncomfortable unless you have a broadcast journalism background or something like that. But for most of us, it's uncomfortable. And you have to get accustomed to looking into that lens and actually speaking to it. So, to prepare yourself for it before you actually even decide to do your video lead magnet, what I would recommend you do is just take your camera from your phone, okay? I suggest using the back camera because it's always going to be a better camera than the selfie camera. Put it on a tripod and talk to the camera. Just take, 1 or 2 minutes and just talk to the camera and get accustomed to it. If you have a regular camera, then you can do the exact same thing. Then once you've become accustomed to it, and let me share something else with you that is a little challenging when you first get started. I want you, after you record it, I want you to watch it. And I know you might be thinking, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't like to do it either. But what it does allow us to do is to, see whether or not, or find things that we can improve upon. For example, were we looking at the camera? Were we looking at the camera or looking down or looking up or looking away? Because oftentimes when people record with their selfie camera, if they're using a phone, then they tend to look at themselves as opposed to the camera. So these are all things that you can correct if you do some test videos. And then as you are listening to yourself, just know this, everybody's voice sounds weird to them. So when I hear my own voice, it sounds really weird to me. Now, you're going to likely experience that as well. But just understand the more you do this, the better at it you're going to get. All right. Okay. So, again, if there are any questions, pop those in before we get into the actual content. Now, or further into the content. Now, the thing I want you to think about when you are creating a lead magnet, and specifically a video lead magnet, is it is so important that your lead magnet follow the normal rules of creating a lead magnet, which is it is designed to solve one problem and one problem only. And I don't want you veering off into tangents or taking people down a path that really is not related to the thing that they decided to download your lead magnet for, or get your video lead magnet, if you will. I want you to stay on task. So, in order to do that, or the best way to do that, is you're going to jot out what the problem is that you're going to solve. And again, remember, you've got to already know your niche. You already have to know who your ideal customer is. And you should have a list of the problems they're experiencing. If you don't yet have that, I want you to go back and watch last week's video where I talked about creating content, because I walk you through that entire process. So again, we're going to pick one of those problems that we are able to solve. Now, there are going to be some things that they are experiencing that we have not yet been able to solve because we don't yet have the expertise. Pick one thing and say, I absolutely know how to solve that. And then what I want you to do is to create the steps necessary to solve it and bullet point those. So, the first thing you do is, point number one. The second thing you do, point number two. The third thing you do, point number three. Now, if we're doing a video lead magnet, I really want you to stick to between 3 and 5 points, because the goal is not for this video lead magnet, if you will, to be extremely long. We want to do what I say, which is get in, explain the concept, and get out. It's all about giving them what they need as fast as possible. So, quite honestly, when you are preparing to create this video lead magnet, it really could be as little as 10 minutes long. You probably don't want to go beyond a lot, maybe 30 to 40 minutes. And that's if it's a pretty, challenging concept to explain. But ultimately, what you want to be able to do is show them, here's your problem, here are the steps we're going to go through. And then I want you to explain each step clearly and in a logical order. So, in other words, whatever they need to do first, you've got to make that number one. Don't have the steps mixed up, and take them right through it. And then at the end of it, what I want you to then do is to share with them, okay, now that you have, we've gone through this, you now know how to, and then you're going to restate whatever it was that they came to the lead magnet for. So now you know how to solve, creating a stitch and crochet. I'm just making things up at this point. So you would actually share that with them. And then here's something else that you can do. If in fact you have any affiliate links, one of the things that you can do is you can reference those affiliate links, and depending on where you have them listed, let's say you upload your video to and make it an unlisted video on YouTube, for example, in the description box. For example, if you were to look at the description box underneath this video, I have some links referenced. Whereas if you are doing an ebook, and let's say you're an Amazon affiliate, you cannot put Amazon links, Amazon affiliate links into an ebook, but you can put them into the description of a video, for example. That's just against the terms of service for Amazon. So just be very much aware of that. Now, another thing that you can do is with your affiliate links, and I'm not saying they just have to be Amazon, because maybe there are tools that you are, recommending that can be purchased from, some other store like a Dick's Sporting Goods or, whatever, and you happen to be an affiliate for them. You can also reference those things. And you want to reference them in such a way in your video that it just is going to further help the person solve the problem. going back to my crocheting example, if you say some of the best quality yarn that I have purchased and that I use can be purchased at XYZ store, I happen to be an affiliate. You always have to disclose that. And there's a link below this video. That would be one way for you to do it. So I'm just sharing with you some of the things that you can do in order to get that point across. All right, so now the next thing I want to talk about, and this is where you're going to be set apart from anybody else who's using this concept. And what I want you to do is, of course, create the video, but then I want you to offer as a download, the companion workbook. Okay. Now, a companion workbook can be created in Canva, Word, Microsoft Word, or you can even create it in Google Docs. Now, I'm going to give you the pages that I want you to incorporate into the workbook and how this workbook is going to align with your video content. So you have your video content and you're going to be hitting those points. So let's say, for example, you had 5 points that you're going to be hitting in your video. Now, what I want you to do is when you create your companion workbook, you're going to restate those items in your companion workbook because now people have a way of actually referring back to the key points and what they should be doing. Another thing you can do is you can also incorporate into your workbook a place for people to actually put in their ideas. So as they're jotting things down. Now, if you've never created a workbook, I'm going to show you how simple this is, and we're just going to use Google Docs. And again, if you have any questions, or you need me to clarify anything, by all means, drop it into the comments and I will get to it. All right, so let me do this. Let me go over to a Google Doc that I've created. I'm going to begin the process of sharing my screen. Okay. All right, so here is a Google document, and there's nothing special about this. And then I'm going to go back and show you what other pages I want you to include in this document. So the first thing I'm going to do is to show you how simple it is to turn a basic document into a workbook or an area where they can actually write information in. All right, so let's say, for example, I'm over here and I have this prompt. What type of video lead magnet could I create? All right, and so I want to put in a place for people to be able to write out or, kind of brainstorm. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to come up here. Let me see if I can do this. I'm going to have to drop my screen down a little bit. There we go, because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is to create a box. So we're going to go up to where it says insert. Well, let me move this screen over a little bit so you can see what I'm looking at. So you'll see these items here, file, edit, and so forth. What we're going to do is click on insert, and then what I want you to do is to go over to where it says drawing, and we're going to click on new. And once I do that, it's going to bring up the drawing pad, if you will. And so all we're going to do is to use this icon here, shapes. We're going to click on it. I want to come over, hover over, the other menu is going to pop up. And then what I'm going to do is just grab this rectangle. So once I grab the rectangle, I'm now going to have the crosshairs. So what I'm going to now do is just draw this box out by holding down my left mouse area, and we're going to come over to about here. Don't worry if the size is wrong. You can always fix this once we're into the document. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that in. Now, I don't want a colored box. So what I'm going to do is come up here, change this fill color to transparent. Okay, so select that. And once I do, the box will become transparent. The next thing I want to do is I want my border color to be a different color. If in fact you have a custom color that you use, you can do so here. You can add that here using the hex code for that. But I'm just going to select one of the items here. So I'm going to select that. And if I were to click away, you'll now see that my box is there. So now let me move my screen over so you can see. There's a little section up here that says save and close. So I'm going to do just that. All right, so now you notice once I did save and close, it popped in that it popped into my companion workbook my rectangle that I drew. So now what's happened is I actually have a place that people can write in whatever it is. Now, if you need to move this, you or change the colors. So for example, let's say I want to change the box color. I can come back to edit, and now I can make those changes as well. Now, you can also, if in fact you want to add in some additional things, you could just simply duplicate this box. All right. Now, let's talk about customizing this to make it look a little bit better as well. So, what I'm going to do is going to now add a cover sheet that I have created a picture over in Canva, and now I'm going to move that into Google Docs. Okay. Now, remember, you can do this entire thing in Canva if you prefer, but sometimes when I'm teaching Canva, people will say, well, I'm not familiar with it, or, that seems like a lot to learn. I'm using Google Docs as anybody can use this. It's free to use. All right, so we are hovering. I have my mouse right before and I'll just see if I can point to that so you can see. I might have to open up my pointer so you can see it, but it's sitting right there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come down again to where it says insert. Okay. And so when I click on insert, you'll see the image, the options pop up. I want the first one that says image. And then what I want to do is upload from my computer because I've already saved this to my computer. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is come over, disregard my messy desktop. I'm going to click on the picture I want. I'm going to click open. And now what you'll notice is it has popped that in. Okay. So let me scroll down. And you can now see that the first page is a picture, which is the cover page for your workbook. All right. And then below that, you'll see the create the companion workbook and so forth, and then the different boxes. So as I mentioned, what I would do is I would have the main points and I would reference them in this workbook and maybe a section below where they can drop in their notes or brainstorm. And then the other things that I want you to do, and I'm going to come off screen here for just a second. The other thing that I want you to do is to incorporate specific pages into your workbook. And you want to do this for anything that you create. So the first thing that I want you to incorporate after the cover page is a table of contents. So if you have 5 points, each point is going to be listed on that table of contents as, let's say, a chapter or, a section, however you want to do that. The other thing I want you to always incorporate is an About Me page. And your About Me page, honestly, once you write it one time, you can just copy it from document to document to document. I do that all the time. All right. And what that's going to allow you to do is to really create a personal connection. And the reason why you want to do that is even if somebody stumbles across your lead magnet, decides it's for them, and they download it, they may not know a whole lot about you. This About Me page gives them a chance to actually learn a bit more about you, why you're qualified to teach them, and so forth. So always incorporate that. Now, the next thing, of course, is going to be the main content and any fillable boxes that you're going to put in. Okay. And so, again, one point would be, just things that you are referring to in your video that can correspond to the workbook so people can connect the two. And whenever you say, I want you to do this, they now have a place in the workbook to do that. So we've already discussed that part. Now, the next thing I want you to do is I want you to then have some type of page that says connect with me. And that's where you're going to then link them to your, for example, you'll link them to or give them links to your social media platforms. Whichever one you hang out on the most is what you want to actually incorporate. So for me, whenever I do this, I'm linking people back to my YouTube channel. Another thing that I want you to do is to definitely have a thank you page. You want to thank them for having downloaded your lead magnet and the workbook, and you want to let them know that you're excited that they're part of your team. That you're part of your community. So make sure they do that. Another thing I want you to put in is going to be a link to your paid offer. So if you have already created a paid offer or a digital product, I want a link to that, provided it makes sense for the content you've created. So, for example, let's go back to, let's say, for example, I was creating something on a lead magnet on creating your first digital product. So then what I could do is in my video, I would go through, I would explain the things that they need to do. I would reference the workbook, and then a paid offer could be something like, you know, I'm in the process of releasing it, but it's the $7 offer formula would be something that I could reference and explain to them how that could be beneficial to them. So just kind of think that through. Now, if you do not yet have a paid product, don't worry about this. Just leave it as is. And when you do create a product that relates to the content that you did for your video lead magnet, you can always come back and revise the page that has the offer at a later time. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, and then let's see. I just want to make sure I don't have anything. Oh, if in fact you have any affiliate links, you can also reiterate them in your book, in your workbook, but just keep in mind you can't do this with affiliate links from Amazon. Now, let me give you the one caveat for Amazon. If in fact you are part of the Amazon influencer program, and you have a storefront, then you can actually put this into your lead magnet. But if you are just part of the regular Amazon affiliate program, you cannot put links into the book. So I hope that makes sense. Those are two very distinct programs. One gives you, the influencer program is going to give you a storefront. The regular Amazon affiliate program just allows you to create links to send people to. So just keep that in mind so that you don't break any of the rules and end up finding yourself kicked out of the program. All right. So are there any questions before we go on to anything else? On those. So that's what you're going to put into your companion workbook. And as I said, feel free to create it in Canva if you're more comfortable with it. Feel free to also do it in Microsoft Word or Google Docs. And you saw how simple it was to do it in there. Now, how would you even send this out to people? Well, one of the things that's going to happen is when you have a lead magnet that you've created, one of the things you're going to do, or the thing you're going to have to do, is to create a landing page. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to link a video up here that shows you how to create a landing page free of charge. Now, what that's going to then do is get people into your email system, if you will. And then from there, what you're going to do is when you send out, or the auto send goes out, which is really your autoresponder, the automatic process, if you will, when it sends out the first email, it's going to have a link to where they can get to the video. It's going to also have a link to download the companion workbook. So that's how people will actually get it. Now, again, that is outside of the scope of this video. We're focusing today just on creating the video lead magnet, just to make sure that you have a different way of standing out. All right, so that's how people are going to get to it. All right, now what I want to do is talk through equipment, because there are some things that you're going to have to be aware of when you start using video. And I want you to first and foremost know that I want you to use what you have, okay? I don't want you spending money going out and buying equipment, because one, that's not necessary. If you have a cell phone, a newer cell phone, you absolutely can use that to create great quality videos. But I don't want you to allow that to become your focus, because oftentimes what I see is people will start saying, well, I can't create my video because I've got to wait until I can buy my camera. I can't create video because I need to get a new microphone, or whatever it is. Use what you have. Now, I am going to say that if in fact you are creating videos, again, you're going to need just a few things that you can work with. So the first thing is, again, if you're going to use your cell phone, remember how I mentioned, I want you to use that back camera. I'm going to flip it over so it's the right way. And the way, do you see how I'm holding the camera? Or my cell phone, that's how I want you to set it up on the tripod. I don't want you to set it up directly in front of you. I want you to set it up this way because this is where the camera is. Now, keep in mind, this would be facing me, okay? Or facing you. So that's the first thing is it's going to be where the camera is at eye level, not the rest of the phone. The second thing I want you to do, because the second thing that is really important is a microphone. You could use the microphone on your phone, but that's not necessarily the best quality mic. So what I want you to do is to get an inexpensive microphone clip on. And then what you can do, and I have this linked in my Amazon storefront, and that's referenced in the video. You're going to clip in the receiver and then clip the microphone onto you. I think this microphone might have been like, I don't know, 15, somewhere between 15 and $19. So right now, the only thing we've spent money on is the microphone because you already have a cell phone. The last thing I want is for you to have good lighting. All right. Now, truth be told, you could stand in front of a bright window. That's how simple it is, and a plain background. The only thing I would also tell you to do, and this won't cost you any money, is to get into a room in your house that perhaps has a lower ceiling and also, let's say, some carpeting on the floor because you don't want sound bouncing all over the place. And I don't want to get too detailed into this stuff, but just remember, use your cell phone. If that's that's the only thing you have. You can also use your computer. What do you call it? Camera, if in fact that works for you. But honestly, the camera is going to work better. The second thing, microphone. And because if video is and audio is 50% of what's going to keep people watching. If your video quality is bad, people are not going to keep watching. That's why you hear me checking to see whether or not my video sounds okay. All right. Now, the third thing is the lighting because you don't want a dark background. So as I mentioned, just go stand in front of a window. You could get a ring light if in fact you want to do that. And as I mentioned, I do have a video starter kit that's listed. Now, I want to share this with you. I've recently upgraded my equipment. Okay. I was monetized before I upgraded my camera. I was monetized before I upgraded my microphones. Okay. So I want you to know you don't have to spend a lot of money. And we just don't want that to become a barrier for you to start recording video. So hopefully we've gotten that out of the way. All right. So Miss Sheila says, let's see here. Let's pop that up. She says, this is really good. I've never worked with Google Docs, but you've made it. Google Docs, I would say within probably the last, oh geez, I want to say maybe I want to say within the last year, I started using Google Docs and I love it because there's so many different things you can do and it is really easy. And I also started using it because I did hear people saying that Canva was a bit challenging for them. It was like it was just difficult for them to get started, but they knew how to use Google Docs. So I'm glad that was helpful for you. All right, so let's go back to recording those videos. All right, now, the other thing that you're going to need to do when you are recording videos is you need to make sure that you have ample space on your phone, if that's what you're using, in order to record your videos. Now, for me, I'm using an iPhone, so all of my videos get stored in the cloud, so it doesn't really clog up my phone. Now, for you, another thing, if you're not an iPhone user, there is a little device that you can clip into your phone that will allow you to use an SD card, so everything can be moved quickly over to your SD card. Now, a couple of quick points on recording your video. When you are in fact recording, I would not recommend trying to record the entire thing in one shot. I would record in sections. So I would do the intro. Hey, my name is Rhonda. I'm excited that you're here. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to create your very first digital product. Stop the camera. Okay? Now, take a deep breath, and then I would go into the second part. Here I am for the second part, second video part of this, okay? Today, what I'm going to be doing is teaching you how to solve the primary problems that people encounter when they are creating their very first digital product. Stop the camera, okay? Now, turn the camera back on. The first thing that I notice, and I'm going to take you through 3 parts, but the first thing that I notice is that 1, 2, whatever it is, tell what that point is, stop the camera. So my point is you're going to do it in this fashion, because if you try to do everything in one take, I tried that a long time ago and I learned that does not work. So when I'm recording videos, that's exactly how I record. And then what you're able to do is to use software to get rid of those pauses and just pull everything together, pull the various clips that you've created together into one video. All right, so it's much more it's easier than you might think it is. Okay, sometimes I'm not saying that recording videos is easy, but I'm saying it's not as difficult as you might think that it is. Now, some people prefer to do everything in one take, and if that's you, go for it. It just does not work well for me. All right. Now, once you have everything pieced together, once you have all of your items together, now when you're in your editing software, however you're going to edit, what you wanted to do is take out all of those. Let's say, for example, there's a big pause in the beginning before you started speaking. You're just going to cut those, okay? And you'll do the same thing on the back end. And so all of these things are super easy to do. I taught myself how to do it by watching YouTube videos. So just know it's not very difficult. So I don't want, again, I don't want this to scare you, but I do want to give you something that's going to make you stand out much better than maybe others that might be in your exact same niche. All right. Now, if you decide you want to edit, and you are a Mac user, okay, I use a Mac. One of the softwares that you could definitely use and will do quite well for you is iMovie, and that's free. It's built into your computer if you have that. If you are going to edit on your phone, then you can use the mobile version of iMovie. If you are a PC user, there is something called DaVinci Resolve, which is an excellent editing program. Now, I don't think there is a version that you can put on your phone, but there is a desktop version that you can use. I think it's all browser based, so I don't even think with that one you have to download software, but don't quote me on that because I'm not a DaVinci Resolve user. But from everything that people have talked to me about, because that was one I did consider, people love it. And there are a lot of individuals who have been recording videos for years that used the free version of DaVinci Resolve. Okay. All right. So we've talked about equipment. We've talked about, what it is that you need in order to really get going with the editing process, how to record the videos, and so forth. Now, what I want to do is go back and have a discussion with you about where you can host your videos. Now, one of the easiest ways to host your videos, and particularly something like this, because it's a lead magnet and we want as many people to see it as possible, is we're going to upload it to YouTube, but we're going to make it unlisted. And the reason we are making it listing it as an unlisted video as opposed to a public video is we still want people to have to request our lead magnet, our video lead magnet. And because we want to capture their email address. Remember, the purpose of the lead magnet is for you to have an exchange between your audience, and the exchange is they get your content, which is this video that you're going to be creating, and you get their email. And now you can begin connecting with them via email on a regular basis. So if you had it listed publicly, there would be no need for people to give you their email address. They could just go watch the public video. A second way that you can do this is you can use something like System.io. Now, System.io is a platform that you all have heard me talk about before. If you're new, then I have lots of videos where I talk about System.io, but it's an all-in-one sales platform. And one of the things that it does have built into it is a landing pages, which you can create using templates, beautifully designed templates to actually show maybe a quick snippet of your video, and then people can put in their first name and their email address and request your item. Now, they also have a course platform that is built into System.io. So you could actually upload your video to the System.io platform. Now, it's going to have limitations on the size of the video. So if in fact that doesn't work, there are other storage places that you can use, like Vimeo is a way that you can store it within System.io. Another one would be something like bunny.net, I believe is the website for that. But again, if your videos are under a certain size, you may not even run into that. All right, so those would be the two places, and I do have links to those, a link to System.io in my description underneath this video. Now, another thing that I would recommend that you do is make sure that when you are in fact promoting this, you want to make sure that people know, because you have to promote your lead magnet, but you want to make sure that people know it's a video, and what are some of the reasons why they should download your or watch your video, subscribe to your email list, if you will, in order to get the access to this video. What types of things are they going to learn? So those are things you can also jot down, because as I mentioned, you're going to have to promote your lead magnet, which is this video. All right. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about, let me see. No, actually, it's not the last thing that I want to talk about. Sorry about that. So the other thing is you do have to have an email service provider. Again, it's already built into System.io, which is definitely one that I like to recommend. But many of you, and I have to tell you, I use both of them. The other one that I use is Kit. And the reason why I also use Kit used to be called ConvertKit, but now it's just called Kit, is because when I built my website years ago, everything was built using ConvertKit, which, like I said, is now called Kit. It would have been too difficult to change everything out. So that's why you see it. Now, another reason is some of you have already set up Shopify stores, and you've already set up, what's the other one? It'll come to me in a second. It also starts with an S. But anyway, you have other selling platforms that you're using, and you don't want to have to go through and switch everything over to another platform. I completely get that. Then you can use something like Kit. Now, as I mentioned, what these are designed to do, your email service provider, what that is designed to do is to store the email addresses that you are collecting. It also is going to allow you to create the landing page that you are going to use to collect the email addresses. But then what it's also going to do is have an autoresponder built into it, which means even if somebody were to request access to your video lead magnet at 3 a.m., well, obviously you're not awake to send that out. The system will send it out automatically. And the way that it's going to send it out is by using a pre-programmed email that you have already written with links to the video and links to the workbook that you're going to create if you decide to go that route. If in fact you're going to use something like System.io and upload it as a course, then you would just send the links to the course. That would be the way that you would do that. So just know that this whole process, once you get it set up, it just runs like clockwork. You probably, unless you have something enabled, you probably won't even know that people are subscribing to your list unless you log in and actually look for your subscriber count. Okay, so it's a great way to get things going. And I can assure you, when you start letting people know that you do in fact have a lead magnet and they see that it can solve one of their problems, even if you just recently started creating content, people will begin requesting it. And that is exactly what you want to do. As I started this, one of the things I was saying is as you begin creating content, people are going to follow you or subscribe on that platform, but you don't own that platform. which means that if they were to shut your account down, you would lose access to all of those followers and subscribers. That is why you want to move people off of those platforms and onto your email list as quickly as possible. Okay. So don't wait. A lot of people think you have to wait until you have 50 followers or 100 followers or 200 before you can set up an email list. I'm here to tell you that as soon as you decide to start creating content, you should have a lead magnet ready to go. Okay. Now, if you're still saying, Rhonda, this is just, I just can't do video right now, then I want you to go back to the video I did maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, where I talked about primarily written type lead magnets. The point is you need a lead magnet. So if you choose to do things like checklist or, something like that, that's fine, but get the lead magnet underway. All right. So can I do a detailed video on Kit? Yeah, I can do that. Because like I said, I've been using Kit for probably, oh, let's see, I would say 7 years maybe. And just so you know, like when I have things connected between System IO and Kit through something, I don't want to get too technical, but through Zapier, which means that when somebody subscribes on my System IO, it automatically reroutes it over to my Kit. Because when my weekly email goes out, every Tuesday morning at 6:05 a.m., it's coming from Kit. So I always like to, full disclosure, tell you I'm using both of them. So just know that I highly recommend both of them. They both do a great job, and they're both going to allow you to accomplish what it is that you're doing. All right. Okay. So how quickly could you get this set up? Doing a video lead magnet, honestly, you could get off of this. You could get off of this live stream after it's over and set it up and be ready to go. The one thing that I do want to make sure you do, and I don't know if I mentioned this, is I want you to also have a tripod. Just a mini tripod will work. I actually have one sitting over there. You can get one. Again, it's linked in my Amazon storefront. And I want to say that might have been like $15 as well. The reason why is no one wants to watch a video that's shaky. So you could get off of this live stream, set it up, outline your topic, and be ready to record and upload everything really this afternoon. That's how simple it is to do. Okay. So don't stress out over this. Is your first one going to be great? Absolutely not. But none of ours was great. And you can always revise that video at some point in the future. So if you record it and, it just is not what you want, re-record it. And get it to a point where you're happy with it and that it's conveying and providing the solution to the problem you said you were going to solve. All right. Okay. So, if you guys were going to be teaching something, what could you teach in a video? So I'd love to see what types of things you all would love to teach, and that you plan to teach, because for many of you, you really are ready to go, and you will be surprised at how easily, if you have a lead magnet that solves a problem, especially a video one, you'll be surprised at the number of people that will request it. And remember, your email list is the one where you are warming people up, and that's the list of people that's going to be most likely to purchase your paid products in the future. So it is important to get people off of the social media platforms onto your email list. You begin to nurture them and provide good information, and then you're able to pitch to them. And it's that a group of people that are going to be most likely to buy. So think of it this way. The bigger your email list, the bigger the pool of people available to purchase your digital products when that time comes. Okay? All right, now let's see. So, like I said, I'd love to hear some of the things that you all are considering doing in terms of videos that, perhaps you're thinking of recording, or something that you could turn into it. And then I also want to know, let's see. Oh, hi, Joyful Stamping. You're listening at work. All right. I hope you have a boss button so you can so you can press it in the event somebody walks up. But thank you so much for being here. I'm actually going to you guys are amazing in terms of how you are focused and committed to building your businesses. And that's what I love. That's how you know you have that true entrepreneur spirit in you, because we do what's necessary in order to get the job done as it relates to building our businesses. Okay, Miss Sheila said, let's pop this up. So I'm gonna, because I want you all to see how we're doing this. So let's do this. Okay, that was where Joyful Stampin told me what she was doing. All right, and then you can see me popping up. Evision says she asked about the detailed video. That absolutely is something I can do. I actually think I've started with some of those, but I'm not 100% sure. And coaching aspiring playwrights on script writing and producing their work, that would be perfect for a video, because again, what you would be able to do is take some element that you know they struggle with and record it as a video with, 3 points that could help them solve whatever that issue is. So I think that's incredible that you guys are already starting to think through these things and, start thinking about it. Now, here's the other thing. Every lead magnet that you create does not have to be a video. I'm just saying that it is a way for you to stand out above others that are in there. So if you want to have a combination of, PDFs or ebooks or whatever and your video, by all means do it. The only caution that I'm going to give you is make sure that whatever lead magnets that you create fall within your content pillars. I'm really, really big on staying within your content pillars, because otherwise it's just too easy to start veering off into topics that you never really intended. And then you're going to have people that join you for, let's say, your specific 5 topics. And if you start veering off into other areas, you're going to lose some of them. So just know that. So stay within your content pillars and create lead magnets that fall within that. I would also tell you that it is perfectly fine to have, 1 or 2 or 3 different lead magnets, again, that fall within your content pillars, because people may come to you because you created content on this one pillar, but they're also interested in something you created on this second pillar and the third pillar and so forth. Others are going to come in from the third pillar, but they're interested in the things you talk about in 1 and 2. So just know it's perfectly fine to have a combination of the lead magnets. It's perfectly fine to have multiple lead magnets. Now, what I would also share with you is, as I mentioned, you've got to promote them, because just because you create them does not mean that people are going to know they exist, and number 2, automatically sign up for them. And typically people are going to need to see your content or see your landing page, let's say, for example, talking about your lead magnet multiple times before they're going to finally make the decision to actually request it. And again, that's because they're still getting to know you. So that's why you also have to continue to put good content out, because putting good content out is what's going to bring people into your world on social media and allow them to get to know you a bit. Now they feel like, you know what, this is the type of person I want to learn from. And I saw that they do have a lead magnet. Let me go ahead and request that, because that's definitely a problem I'm experiencing. And if they say they have a solution, I'm willing to, exchange my email address in order to get that. All right. Okay. Now let's see. Anything else? Do you all have any other questions before we start wrapping things up? Like I said, I wanted you to have something that would set you apart. And I know these video lead magnets are definitely a way to do it. I think you're going to start seeing more and more of them. But right now, you can kind of be ahead of the game in most cases with you creating one for people that are in your same niche. You just simply have something that stands out. And as I said, some people would prefer to watch as opposed to read. Okay. All right. So, if in fact there are no questions, I just want to remind you that I have links below. So if you want to check out the video starter kit that I put together in my Amazon storefront, it's there. If you want to see any of the equipment that I use for my videos, and remember, I didn't upgrade my equipment until after I was monetized. So I use Google AdSense money to pay for my equipment. And then the third thing that I would say is just, first of all, start with what you have, upgrade later if you need to. But the point is just to get the lead magnet out there and allow it to start working for you. Remember too, with your lead magnet, if you find it's just not working, you might need to revise it. I wouldn't say abandon the concept, maybe just change up what you need to in order to get people to request it. Maybe the topic you submit, decided that you were going to go with isn't something they're necessarily interested in. But tweak it for first before you just completely abandon it and decide to go to something else. All right. So if there aren't any other questions, I'm going to get ready to sign off. I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for joining me live. I want to say thank you to all those of you that are watching the replay. If this is your first time joining me, on Wednesdays at 12 noon Eastern Time, I'm back here doing live trainings with you. I cover a variety of topics. So I'm going to be covering things such as digital products, content creation, affiliate marketing, email marketing, and one of my topics that I'm adding things into on is workshops. I'm going to be talking to you about how to create workshops that you can start charging people to attend. That's another digital product, if you will. And so those are my content pillars, and I stay within those. People ask me all the time to create content outside of those, but I typically will refer them to someone that I know, that whatever they're requesting falls within their content pillars, because I want to stay true to that. And the reason why I've selected these content pillars is because I know that you need all of them if you are going to be a solopreneur that is in fact creating digital products. You need to build the email list. You need to know how to incorporate affiliate marketing, because they're going to be products that you can absolutely recommend to people. And none of that is difficult to do. All right. So with that being said, I hope to see you back here next week, Wednesday. Make sure you share this with your business besties that need to hear and learn this information. Invite them to join you live on the next one. That way you guys can get together, compare notes, and, start working together as a team to accomplish things. So thanks for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video or on the next live stream. Take care. Have an awesome day.